I'm not a headline. I'm not a lesson in a business school case study. I'm just Lena Alvarez, a girl in a plain uniform who learned how to move quiet and make rooms shine. And the day everything changed started with a tray of eggs and a door. I should have knocked on twice, sir. Your breakfast, I said. Stepped in, and there he was, Cole Harrington. Towel, low hair, wet. The guy from magazine covers suddenly 3 feet away, and real enough to make my hands shake. He smirked for a second, like men do when they're used to being the sun, then something softer crossed his face, and he said it down in a voice that landed halfway between command and apology. I put the tray down and tried to back out like a ghost. He asked my name. I told him. He said, "Don't call me sir when it's just us." My heart tripped over itself, and right before I slipped through the door, he said it, "Lena, welcome to my home," and I swear those 4 words stuck to my ribs all day. By noon, the housekeeper sent me to his study with flowers. The room smelled like leather and old money. He looked up, stood like a tide creeping in. "Careful," he said, as water sloshed. "You're nervous." I lied and said I was fine. He studied me like I was a puzzle. Somebody finally wanted to finish, then he stepped back like he didn't trust himself and said, "Be careful around me, please." And I didn't know if that was a warning or a promise. I just nodded and left. Nights in that penthouse felt like a museum after hours, glass marble, quiet. You could hear your doubts bouncing off a storm rolled over the lake. And I was carrying warm towels down the stairs when he appeared at the top, no tie shirt open at the throat, lightning drawing his silhouette. "Still working?" he asked. "I like finishing things," I said. "Do you always push yourself this late? Keeps me busy." He moved down a step, then another, softer now. "You don't have to pretend with me, I see you." And that one landed where it shouldn't. "Someone like me doesn't belong in your world," I said, aiming for cool, hitting. "Scared, don't ever say that again," he whispered. The basket slipped his hand, caught it. Our fingers touched. Spark, breath, space, bending. He let go first and said, "Get some rest." I didn't. I lay awake tracing the ceiling and that warning in my head. A week later in the library, dust in the sun shelves that didn't need dusting. His reflection in the glass. "You make it hard to breathe," he said. No smile, just truth, I could have joked. Hid behind rules, but something honest climbed out of me and I told him he wasn't the only one. His hand came up like a question. I nodded like an answer. I'd been carrying too long, the kiss didn't spin the room. It steadied it, heat and relief, and 2 people starving at the same table. When we pulled apart, every voice in my head screamed, "This is wrong." "And yet everything about you feels right," he said. And the wrong didn't stand a chance. We tried to be careful, failed in hallways, doorways, the way eyes find each other across rooms full of anyone but the only one who matters. He asked about my mother in San Antonio, about rent rising faster than hope. I asked about the rocket company he built with friends who sued him later, because greed doesn't care where it met you. He listened like it was work. I laughed, like I'd forgotten how. And then my body started whispering a secret. I didn't want dizzy mornings. Sudden nausea, a faint that would have dropped me if he hadn't caught my elbow. The house doctor came quiet and kind and said, "Congratulations." 2 months, and the word pregnant echoed like thunder in a small room. My hands went to my stomach on their own. I started listing every reason. This was impossible: job optics, headlines, people who love a poor girl villain. He took my hands. "This child is ours," he said, and I believed him because his fingers were shaking. Secrets with power don't stay secret in houses where whispers move faster than light. By Saturday, the rumor wore a tuxedo, crystal glasses clinking, city shining through glass walls. I stepped out with a tray I wasn't supposed to carry, and conversations stalled like somebody unplugged the night. A venture guy leaned in. "Tell me this isn't true. A billionaire and a maid." The women laughed behind jeweled hands. Another man said, "Handle it before it handles you." My cheeks burned, my hands went cold. Cole scraped his chair back and walked to me like money, and opinions were just wallpaper. He took the tray, set it down, slid an arm around my waist where everyone could see. "This woman is not my scandal," he said. "She's my choice, the mother of my child." And you could hear ice melt. Nobody clapped. Somebody coughed. I bit the inside of my cheek and refused to cry, because if they were going to look, I'd at least be standing. After the last car disappeared into the city, I watched the skyline flicker, while his arms found me from behind. "Don't doubt your place," he said into my hair. "You and this baby are my future." I wanted to believe love could build a bubble big enough to hold back gossip. Next morning, the tabloids said otherwise. A driver told a concierge, who told a blogger, who told everyone. Investors called lawyers, called an aunt I barely knew. Sent a verse and a warning. "The housekeeper slid me a schedule with fewer hours, temporary," she said, "which is corporate for forever." By evening, Cole's mother left a voice note with the word embarrassed, heavy as a brick. He found me in the kitchen, cutting strawberries. I didn't want, and said, "Marry me like a life raft. Don't fix me with a ring, choose me." "Then ask again," I said. And he did it right, not fireworks. A rose garden behind the glass where the city goes quiet, one knee, hands shaking. The second, you said my name like I was human, I knew, and my yes felt like a door closing on every "you're not enough" I ever swallowed. We married in a chapel that looked like a kid drew its stained glass and wood, warm from 1,000 prayers, he cried. I cried. Husband and wife landed like a landing. We didn't believe we deserved until that minute. For a while life softened. Nursery painted the color of morning midnight bottles and a hand on my belly, telling stories to a daughter. He swore was in there when she arrived. The world shrank to a cry and a heartbeat and a laugh that hurt. In the best way she has, your mouth, I whispered, and your spine, he said, and we rested inside the joke and the truth. If the story ended there, I wouldn't be talking a week later. A grainy video hit the internet, not a kiss, not a date. The towel morning from a camera that should have stayed locked. Somebody trimmed it, captioned it, fed it to the wolves. The internet did what it does, turned me into a symbol and a punchline. At the same time, gold digger, predator victim, homewrecker, power imbalance. I put the phone down because I could feel myself turning to salt. Cole's board called an emergency meeting. Without him, said the brand was bleeding, fiduciary optics, ethics tossed in like garnish. They wanted him to step back and let the machine keep purring. He listened, jaw tight, and then laughed a little. Not cruel, just tired. If the brand can't survive me loving my wife, it doesn't deserve the name, he said, and resigned from the chair he built with his own hands. We celebrated with takeout and a sleeping baby between us, because sometimes the win is quiet. A month later, in that same library, he handed me an envelope, a deed with my name on it. The clinic we'd dreamed in those late nights, where wishes feel safe. This is yours, he said. Ours, I said no. He smiled. I'm done being the whole story. I want to be the part that helps yours grow. A year after the storm, we cut a ribbon on the Alvarez Women's Health Center. Moms came in, tired and brave. Girls asked questions no one ever made space for. There's a mural on the side. A girl in a uniform standing on a mountain of brooms holding a stethoscope like a trophy. Subtle isn't my thing. You know what I mean. A reporter asked if I had regrets. I thought about bathroom tears and DMs from strangers who think they know me, about boardrooms and dinners and that kiss that split my life in two. I regret how cruel people get when they're bored, I said. But I don't regret love. And here's the part that might light the comments on fire. 2 weeks ago, the state opened an inquiry into our funding, after one of Cole's former partners claimed the clinic launders his reputation. His words, not mine. We passed audits. We keep receipts for diapers and blood pressure cuffs, and the lights we leave on long enough for the night shift, who can only come at noon. It won't matter to some folks for them. The story they want will always be louder than the truth. Last night on the balcony, he asked, "Does it scare you that people will never stop talking?" "It used to," I said. "Now I'm more afraid of living small just because someone else is loud." "Whatever comes next, we built something." "A headline can't touch," he said. He's right, but I'm honest. I don't know if the inquiry turns into a hearing, if that video resurfaces every time somebody needs clicks, if there's a boardroom planning a new way to punish a girl who forgot to stay in her place. I know this much. I was underestimated, mislabeled, talked down to, and I'm still here. Not because I married a man with money, but because I learned how to fight with tenderness and show up when hiding would have been easier. So tell me, did we do the wrong thing, falling in love across a line other people drew? Or the right thing, refusing to let shame steer our lives? Is the scandal a power imbalance that we named and faced together? Or a world that forgives it only when women stay silent and men keep secrets? Yeah, that happened. And I want to hear you drop your take in the comments. Call me out. Cheer me on. Tell me a story you lived or witnessed. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who still believes image is more important than love. Your turn now, right or wrong, love or image, justice or gossip. Where do you stand?